If you are a man that's looking to have more success with women and you truly want to date the women of the caliber that you want, then I want you to pay close attention to this video because I feel like in the last 5 years, I've gone on a complete transformation, not after just working with myself, but working with my clients and even coaching women to understand what it is that women truly want. A lot of the red pill garbage aside, right? Because there's a lot of rhetoric that people talk about on the internet that's not actually true if you're trying to find a real relationship, and just really get to the point on what matters to women and how to find the relationship that you're looking for. So if you think that's something that's going to help you guys out and you want more of this kind of content, I would love if you guys hit that subscribe button to make sure that you keep up to date with my channel. My name is Evan. I run the account Performance Potential here on YouTube and on TikTok. Got about 465,000 followers at the time of making this video on TikTok. So worked with a lot of guys, worked with a lot of women. And I'm going to cut right to the chase on what I think is very important for you guys to know if you are looking for a relationship. So I think it's important to go back about 5.5 years in my past to discuss my journey a little bit more so you can understand where you can go from being to where you can actually get to in life. And I promise this is not me trying to brag. This is not me trying to get overly personal on why I think my advice is, going to help compared to some other advice on the internet. But I think it's important to understand the journey that certain people go on to make sure that it aligns with what you're looking to do. So when I was younger, I was actually a serial dater. And what I mean by that is I was always a guy who was trying to be or was in long-term relationships. Now, some guys might think, well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like if I'm looking for a relationship, of course I want to always have a girlfriend. Well, to be honest, that's wrong. What I didn't realize was that most women want to be with a guy that other women want, but they can't have. And what I mean by that is when you are so available and you are so easy to certain women, they'll be like, well, is he that easy for other women as well? And it's a weird kind of psychological thing to think about that, but just keep this in the back of your mind as I'm telling you my story. So when we go back about 5.5 years from now, there is 2 main girls that I can say made me take a big dose of the red pill, right? Because every guy's like, what's your story? Who hurt you? All this, that, and whatever. So I'm going to focus on one of those stories today, and I'll tell the other one at a different time. But anyways, about 5.5 years ago, I was talking to this one girl, and we went on a date, and I really had it made up in my mind as we were on the first date that this was a girl I really wanted to be my girlfriend. This was a girl that was attractive enough, smart enough, cool enough, and lived close enough to me. Everything just made sense. And I knew I wanted this girl to be my girlfriend after literally meeting her one time. And when I tell you that a lot of times women will give you the keys to the kingdom, but a lot of times you just don't pay attention or you don't know that they're doing that, I truly mean that. So I'm on a date with this girl and I was asking her what she was looking for, which was a mistake in itself. And we're talking about all this and she's like, yeah, I definitely want a relationship, but it takes me some time. Like I go slow with that. I don't just rush into anything. That was red flag number 1, that I was doing too much. Because I was definitely being too much in this date. We have a good time. The date goes pretty well. We're making out at the end of the date. I'm like, all right, this is great. It ended well. It ended how I wanted it to end. So I leave that date and I text her immediately. Now, a lot of guys are going to say mistake number 2. And in most cases, that kind of is mistake number 2. We're texting a bunch. She answers me once, leaves me undelivered that night, goes to sleep. I don't hear from her until probably the middle of the next day. And I'm like, okay, not a big deal. So we're texting 24/7. And she says to me again, listen, like I said, I like to take things slow and I like to get to know somebody before, we're talking all the time. We're hanging out every day, because I was asking her to hang out again, immediately after the date. Didn't wait at all. Didn't play it cool at all. And again, warning sign number 2. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Completely agree with you. You've got to take your time to get to know somebody before you just jump right into a relationship. I didn't really pay attention. I was not paying attention to what she was saying. I was just reading and responding and trying to get on my merry way to the next date because I was being obsessive about her. So anyways, flash forward to the next day. I text her again. She doesn't answer. I don't hear from her. I call her again the next day when I didn't hear, get a text back from her. So I didn't hear from her. So I called her. No answer. Ghosted me completely. So I went from being on a great first date, thinking this girl was super into me, to within 2.5, 3 days, this girl is already ghosting me. The reason why I tell you this story is after really taking the time to understand what it is that I did wrong and learning about women, talking to women, now coaching women and coaching men, I deny women far more than they deny me. And that is not a flex. That is not trying to brag. And that is not even trying to be like living through my ego as I say that. I'm just trying to explain this because I want you guys to understand where you can get to as a man to feel like you are in control of your life. It's not to control other people. It's not to manipulate other people. It's not to always be winning or on top. It's just to feel like you are in control of your own life and your own emotions. So let's talk about what it took me to get to that point in my life and what I think the characteristics of a guy who would be considered husband material would truly be. First and foremost, women like a guy who is confident, of course. That comes with a lot of different things. Doesn't even need to be said at this point in time. We all know that. The second piece to being husband material, because you're being looked at as long-term potential and a guy that she wants to be with forever, is a man that is financially stable. You do not need to be rich, but you need to be financially literate and you need to be financially stable. Third thing is you need to have relatively good style. You need to be clean. You need to be well groomed. You need to take care of your body. Women do not want to be with a slob. They don't want to be with a guy who's messy. The next piece. You need to be somebody that they see a future with, meaning that you're not just financially stable, you're not just educated, but you're a guy who she knows will commit. Let me say it again. She knows that you are a guy who is able to commit. The reason why I bring this one up as kind of the golden nugget that not a lot of other guys bring up, because a lot of other guys are like, if you commit too soon, she's going to ghost you. And if you care about a woman, you tell her you love her, you cry for a woman, you're dead to her, and all this other bullshit that you hear on the internet. I need you guys to understand something. When a woman sees you as the guy who she wants to be in a long-term relationship with, she is separating you from the Brads and Chads that she screws on Saturday, that all these red pill guys talk about. And not all women do that, but a lot of women do that. If you want to be a guy who's looked at as husband material, you need to have some level or layer of consistency or perceived consistency to you and to your approach to dating. Now let me explain what this looks like from a woman's perspective. Much like a guy would want to ask a woman what her body count is, a woman always wants to know what your dating history looks like. And this is always a challenging topic to talk about because you don't want to disclose too much and you don't want to be dishonest and not disclose enough. Women, and this is going to be the most important thing I say in this whole video, before I wrap this up, this is going to be the most important thing I say in this whole video. Women want a guy that is desired by other women and he has options, but he is not screwing those options. Let me say it again. Women want a guy with options that is desired by other women, but he is not entertaining those options and he is not screwing those women. That is a guy that radiates husband vibes, that radiates husband energy. A dude who could get virtually any woman he wants, but he chose that one girl. That makes women feel more special than anything else on the planet. When they know a guy could get who he wants and they chose her. Women say this all the time. I hear this all the time from women. They say, I want a guy who's confident, and even if he's a little bit of an asshole, he's not an asshole to me. He is only soft with me. He's only emotionally vulnerable with me. Because what that's doing is it's making women feel special. It's making them feel different. So yes, of course, looks, money, status, all this other stuff that people talk about on the internet, it is important, but there are other intangibles like intelligence, sense of humor, being socially calibrated to what's going on, patience, indifference, all of these things, they matter. Ultimately, if a woman is going to pick a guy who is a good long-term partner, they want to pick a guy that is a desirable guy, but who's not out screwing the community. Women don't want to date Brad or Chad long term. They don't. So if you want to be a guy who radiates that husband energy, you need to get to that point in your life. And now I will tell you that casually dating and being single for a period of time can help you get in that abundance mindset, which will allow you to not screw it up when you meet the women that you actually want to commit to. So I think it's very important as a man that you go through different phases in your life and you have different experiences. Definitely get in long-term relationships. Definitely take time to yourself, being single, being on your own. But you will come to a level in your life and this kind of hierarchy or this continuum as a man when you've done everything right, where you realize that you can get the women that you want eventually after doing the self-improvement work, but you will restrain yourself from just sleeping with whoever. And when you can come to that point in your life, I promise you, you will be the most desirable to women because they know you got that energy, but you are the most fit to be in a relationship because you've controlled yourself and you've restrained yourself enough to not just be sweeping the streets, for whatever women will screw you, and now you're ready to commit. So if you feel like you haven't checkmarked those boxes, or you feel like you haven't been through those, times in your life or your dating career, then maybe you should stay single. Maybe you should work on yourself. And again, this video is not going to be about picking up women, getting the most options with women as humanly possible. I can make other videos on this. I just wanted to talk to you guys about what men really radiate those husband vibes. But I'm curious, for you guys out there that have had success, and for you guys out there that have an opinion on this, I want you to leave a comment, and I want you to let me know what you think that husband vibe, that husband energy is, if you're a man who's looking for a real long-term relationship. So appreciate your guys' support. If you like my content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a comment with what you want to see more of. Until next time.